Welcome to Thicc Boy Fight Club. I'm your Balkan boy.
I'm Tyson the Beast.
And our guest today is pro MMA fighter Kyran Cameron. Before we get started, Thicc Boy restaurant shout out. For me, it's a place in Hamilton because I was there yesterday. Bon Temps. It serves like French contemporary cuisines, but I had like rib steak, obviously, and it was delicious. So shout out to them.
For me, it's a spot, another sushi spot in Etobicoke, Tokyo Sushi off Queensway. So, I'm big into sushi. Etobicoke's got like so many I haven't been able to keep track. Really good spot, bunch of different cool little rolls. They had a really good red dragon. It's kind of always my standard to see how they do with that one. Tokyo Sushi, Etobicoke, Queensway.
Okay. For mine, I got a spot in Burlington, 50 pesos. They got the best tacos. They do a lot for the athletes in the area. They support the BTC fight promotions, and they're sponsoring me as well for my next fight. And they got like super clean food, and it tastes amazing too. So
50 pesos?
Yeah, it's right by BTC gym.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
And also our sponsors, first and foremost, Top 1 Studios, Phallon, Dunn, Gas Tank, Bearded Bites, Mo Mine, Kimura, Just for Kicks, Major Pack, Bless, Edibles, Clinch Culture. What am I missing?
You're pretty good. I think you got them all.
I think I got them all. Once again, as always, if I forgot you,
shout out to the gyms that are here today. BTC, of course, and Aegis MMA and Niagara Top Team represent Combat Arts for life.
Let's go.
Yeah, gang.
And well, Kyran, we only brought you watermelon juice today for the Thicc Boy Fight Club podcast because we know you're cutting weight.
Yeah.
You're getting ready. You're going down to 155, fighting for the BFL title next week, right?
That's right.
February 17th.
17th, yeah. So I'll be a week and a day.
Nice.
How's the weight cut going?
That's the one question every fighter needs to
We're
ask.
going to do you dirty. We're going to be like feasting like, oh, be tough.
Yeah.
It's not fun, but I didn't really have to stress myself too hard for 170. So it's pretty much just like a real weight cut this time around.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is officially the first one at 55.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how are you feeling right now? Is it like, it's only a week out. So are you not really fully cutting yet, right?
Not fully cut in. I'm going to start water loading in the next day or two. So I'm going to be really feeling it in the next few days. But
how heavy did you ever get before?
Like all time?
That's a pretty personal question.
When you were fighting, because everyone's been big, probably bigger at the one.
But one thing we'll touch is Kyran's been training like since he was a little kid. So I mean,
yeah.
So what's the heaviest you've gotten like when you started filling out?
I've touched like upper 190s, but when I'm in shape in fight camp, I was usually around like the lower 180s. So cutting down to 170 really wasn't
not like
too much. Like it was pretty laughable. Like my cuts, my last cut at 170, I think I did a water bath, like sweat out like 6 pounds. I was on weight. So that's that's kind of like why we made the decision to go to 55.
And your last fight was for a title too, right? It was for the welterweight title?
Yeah, it was for the welterweight title.
Wow. Yeah, that guy was noticeably bigger than you. I remember watching that and being like, this guy's huge. And I remember you kind of talked about whether or not you wanted to go down. And you'd been doing so well at 70, I could get why you felt confident to stay up. But what was it, that fight and that, the difference in size that kind of made you realize that maybe the 55 was the best way?
Yeah, like the last 3 opponents I had fought, I'd all dropped down from 185, like previous to fighting me, right? So I was at a size disadvantage for the last few fights. I was doing really well at welterweight, right? Yeah. I was undefeated up until that point. But I want to be competitive with like the upper echelon, right? I see myself.
Best guys in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to be in contender series soon. I want to be in UFC, like fighting those guys. So we just felt like with my game, like staying long, using my range, it'd be more suited for 155.
Well, 70-pounders in the UFC are huge, right? Like the idea that cuts to 70.
A lot of these guys cut from 200 that go to 170. Yeah. So
and it's a lean 200 too.
Like I mean, you were fast tracked pretty quickly. You were already fighting for one of the top Canadian promotion welterweight titles. You went 6-0 pretty quick. But what people don't know is how long you've been training. I know because I've met you when you were probably like 13, 14. How old were you at Combat Arts?
I think I was like just turned 15 when we first met. Yeah
and so like I looked at Kyran when I started seeing him train as like one of those kids like from the future that's training everything like from the start, like because I was jumping around doing the jiu-jitsu and the boxing and this, but you were doing the same thing and you were training in everything, and you weren't a jiu-jitsu guy, you weren't really a Muay Thai guy. Did you have it in your mind that you always wanted to do MMA?
Yeah, that was exactly it. Like MMA was the goal from the beginning, right? But coming up in Ontario, it was hard to get MMA fights at the time, especially being under 18 at the time, right? So I was always training everything, but I would compete in the individual sports at that time, right? So I'd compete in kickboxing, I'd compete in jiu-jitsu, but the goal was always MMA. And yeah, you said like I was fast-tracked up to this point, but it actually took a while for me to get my pro debut set, right? So I've been pro for 3 or so years now. So it's like once I finally got that opportunity to take that step and fight into the pro ranks, I just wanted to like take every fight that I could and get as far as I can, like as fast as possible.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've done pretty well, especially like you said, being in Ontario the last couple of years. You've still been able to get the attention, get these fights. And I think even for these young guys, I still think it's good to compete in all those individual sports. Like, even if the goal is to MMA,
I was doing this because I was thinking that's what you always preach. And he competed in boxing too.
Yeah, one boxing
You've
fight.
had Muay Thai fights.
Yep.
You've had Jiu-Jitsu matches. I think the only thing you haven't done is competitive wrestling almost.
Yeah, exactly.
And like he's competed in everything. And he started doing amateur MMA early here in Ontario. I think he competed in all the little amateur leagues that we had going on here, including Ace Fights that we used to put on.
She'll come up with Neil, get him to do a little wrestling match at Ballard sometime.
There we go.
It'd be a good experience, right? Even Kamzat is doing wrestling matches for fun in between, just to kind of keep that grind, right? And kind of get that feel against guys. So even at the highest level, guys are still doing that. So we'll get you a wrestling match.
Yeah, but I mean, where does he train? Niagara Top Team.
Yeah, not that you need it. Not that you need the extra wrestling. Trust me, I know. But it's always good to kind of get that feel, right? And even recently, you did a wrestling match for the quintet. You did a wrestling match.
I did a wrestling match
at Ballards.
At Ballards. Yeah.
TJ Laramie, who's up and coming guy, did a wrestling match. I think even his older brother too. So even then, guys are still doing it. Because it's always good to get that feeling, like that difference, right? So what's it been like the last couple of years, especially like I said, you really well-known guy, obviously highly touted. What's it been like trying to balance everything, being here in Ontario and still kind of compete with, because you're competing with the whole world. Guys in the States have all the advantages. What's it been like to kind of stick with this grind? Because it's not easy for anybody the last couple of years up here. Yeah,
exactly. Like you guys know how it is, right? You still have to work like secondary jobs. Like you're not getting paid a lot right off the bat for MMA.
It's like an extreme hobby more than it is a career.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
exactly. It's only been recently where I'm starting to get like a little kickback on it, make a little bit of money from it.
Which helps you break even on training camp.
Yeah, right? Exactly. After you're buying the healthy food and everything you need for a weight cut, like you're just breaking even.
Your purse is like your Whole Foods bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
It's been better recently fighting in BFL. So they have a good co-promotion with UFC Fight Pass. So I feel like they're doing a lot to act as like a feeder for Canadian fighters into the UFC. Like the previous 155 champion had just fought in Contender Series.
Oh, really?
So I think this will position me to
Oh, right. He fought the Chinese guy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's good. So what do you know about your opponent that you're fighting? Like, what's the background on what? Have you guys gotten to do any proper scouting or?
Yeah, like I usually leave that to my coaches to handle. But I have shared like 2 cards with him so far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I know like he's a pretty scrappy guy. He likes to fight. He's gonna bring the fight to me, which is good. Like I love those challenges, and I love when guys like put the pressure on me. I feel like that's when I really rise to the occasion. He's gonna be a scrappy guy. I do think I have the cleaner striking out of the 2 of us, so I'm just gonna pick him apart from the outside, and I'm gonna find that shot that's gonna put him away.
Well, I think you carrying that, like, especially the weight cut goes well. I think at 55, you're going to do very well.
You're going to carry some serious power.
Yeah, you compete against guys at 70 and knowing a lot of those guys, like you said, these weren't small guys you were beating either. Yeah. I think you're going to do very well next week as long as the weight cut goes well. I'm super excited to see what you look like at 55.
And please shout out your coaches. Who are your coaches?
Give it to let them know.
Yeah, I've been training a lot with Lyndon Whitlock. Lucas Chaston, Paul Jabber has been taking over as my jiu-jitsu coach.
Nice.
It's the same like regular suspects from Parabellum, right? Now we've got a new location, rebranded, Aegis MMA. Like all those guys, it's been amazing. Like finally getting that location set and just training with those guys. We're really getting the momentum rolling right now.
So glad you said Aegis because I've been saying it wrong.
Butchering this name.
I've been butchering this name. Yo, Lyndon, I'm so sorry.
So honestly, everyone says it a different way.
Did you clarify with Lyndon how you say it? Or
I think it's
Oh, you
Aegis.
think so? You don't even know.
We have no idea.
We looked it up on Google one day and we pressed the audio. It was Aegis. So I think that's
Aegis.
what we're sticking with. But
Oh,
it'll
nice.
change depending on who you're
Smart.
talking to.
Yo, that's hilarious. Because like, I was
Imagine-
like, I'm not gonna say it.
Imagine Lucas and Lyndon both say it differently.
Yeah.
Well, we had somebody on recently. Who was it that we had recently that talked about it? I don't know if it was Adam last, but they said like ages, I think. And
Yeah.
I've been saying it to people
Yeah,
too.
say,
That way.
yeah. I
So
didn't
it's
sound like I
Aegis.
heard it. I made that up. I heard it from us. So.
Yeah, I'm happy you said it. If we said it wrong,
But,
Lyndon,
that's where
guys,
you're.
we're
That's where
sorry.
you're doing most of your training camp. I assume like 80, 90% of it, or
90%. And then we're also co-training with Niagara Top Team. So I'm going down every Monday. We have a huge wrestling room with those guys.
shout out to
And,
Prick It.
yeah,
New
they'll
facility
come
for
down
them
as
too.
well. Yeah.
New facility. Yeah, he was just showing me
Mm-hmm.
inside Evolve MMA. I mean, congratulations for them.
That place looks awesome. Yeah, everyone's getting
Yeah.
new facilities, which is crazy considering what's going on. Like Dog Pound, like everyone's getting new facilities.
There's all these
which
massive
is,
facilities opening up, and it's got me really excited about the
well, dude,
future
it tells
of
you how
gyms.
popular MMA and martial arts is in Ontario, which is why it's crazy what we've been going on the last 2 years. Like I've said it to you, I've never been to a city with this many, not just traditional martial arts schools, but MMA. And like I said, it's not like, if you compare it to like California, that's one thing, but the state of California is the size of all of Canada.
I think there's
So,
gonna
like-
be a rush of people like recreationally that are gonna want to train, and I think these gyms are gonna fill out.
Well, that's the only reason they're getting these funding. I mean, look at the size of Battle Arts. I mean, the amount of 15,000 square foot and up facilities in the cities. I've never been to a city with that many. And like I said, it's not like we have like a UFC fighter in every single one of them. This is purely for the love of the sport here in Ontario.
And I mean,
So-
you're a guy who's had to hustle. I mean, you've done personal training, security, all these different things that fighters do. Like you said, you got to do part-time jobs when you're a professional fighter. What's your life like now that you're focusing more on trying to get to the Contender Series and try to get to the UFC?
Yeah, I just pretty much work just to cover the bills and stuff. I've been doing my security gigs and stuff, but my main focus is my training. That comes first, right? So if I have a job I need to work, I let them know what it is, right? And if I have to leave that job and go somewhere else, I'll make it work. I train in the afternoons, mostly for the pro training. So I work night shifts, evenings, whatever I have to do to get by. Last couple of months, with the lockdowns and everything, I've pretty much been mainly training and then just working part-time.
Yeah, man, you got to commend anybody who's still sticking with it the way a lot of guys are. I really think you're going to do well at 55. And I think, like I said, once a lot of us, hopefully we're able to break through these lockdowns because like I said, it's such a disadvantage. And I look at guys like you, obviously Jasmine, who just did her thing. I think we have a whole bunch of fighters who once were able to get a steady flow here in Ontario, it's about to be a wrap. I really think, especially with the combination of Aegis and Niagara Top Team, I think we're gonna produce a lot of good fighters coming out of there, and you being one of them for sure. So what? Now with this one, is it a multiple fight contract with BFL where your next fight will be with them, or is it kind of open ended after
Well, I'm
this?
assuming as a champion, he's probably going to be exclusive to them, right?
Yeah, so I signed a multi-fight contract with them. I was supposed to fight in December, so it started at that point. So it's 3 fights or to the end of this year, right? So ideally, I would like to get those 3 fights out of the way by the end of this year. And then there is a championship clause as well. So when I win that belt, I just won't be able to fight in other promotions in Canada, which there aren't really too many at the moment. But I mean, with everything goes well, I'm looking to win the belt and go to Contender Series pretty soon.
Yeah,
Well,
and they
BFL
would
is on
and they
you-
would have to let you go to Contender Series. I think every promotion.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's part of the deal
That's
with the
part of the
UFC
deal with
Fight
UFC
Pass,
Fight
right? I'm
Pass,
pretty sure
so,
that's
yeah.
kind of the understanding as to why they're on.
Yeah,
I like that you said when I win the belt, because I think all of us are very confident that you're going to. And that's not just us being biased. I really do believe you are at that level. So I'm really hoping that once this happens, you get that call up soon, because, like I said, now with what Niagara's done, they got AJ in there, Jasmine. Who else has been on the contender recently?
And Romero's been on there.
Romero, yeah. He
Mike-
beat a guy from
Mike
Kansas City.
Malott.
Mike Malott got into the
Yeah,
UFC.
and actually, yeah.
He's fighting Mickey Gall next.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. And then, so I really do believe after this, especially with a good showing, I think that call's gonna come, man. So I'm super excited to see you get there. And like I said, Lord willing, we're able to just keep training, throughout the year. So that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
So what? So when you decide to make the drop to 55, did you add a nutritionist or anything like that, or did you just kind of?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too.
Because I know a lot of the guys deal with Matt, especially all like bearded bites. I know Adam's dealing with him. What was your kind of step towards that?
This is your first big weight cut, no?
First big weight cut, yeah. But I'm blessed to have a lot of good guys around me, a lot of knowledgeable guys that know what they're doing. So I've kind of just taken information from guys in the gym, and I'm just following like dietary guidelines and stuff. I've done water cuts before. I've done like cuts through diet. So I'm just like combining all the knowledge and like just brushing between like the guys at the gym and seeing what they're doing, right? So it's been doing well so far.
How much does that benefit you to have that strong support system? Because literally from that gym, there's so many guys that have that are pros, veterans that have even been to the UFC, coaches like Lyndon who have fought. Like you have such a strong support system. I don't think you have anything to worry about, or even probably a necessity for a nutritionist.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I'm extremely blessed to be like surrounded by all of them, like such knowledgeable guys, and I put like my full trust into all of them because they've been there and they've been to like the highest levels of the sport and they know what they're doing.
So what's this is the Thicc Boy podcast. So what's been the biggest like sacrifice food wise? Like, is there something that you've had to kind of just? Because if you're 15 pounds, a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
If you're training hard enough, it's okay to have that extra slice of pizza or whatever. Like, you ever watch the Mayweather thing about like caloric fuel? He'll eat like
A burger,
pizza. So what's been
yeah.
that one thing that you've kind of missed out on this camp that you?
Because there's no cheat days on when you're doing.
Yeah, now it's a real
title
great
fight.
What's that one thing that you cannot wait to get back into once the fight is over?
I'm just looking forward to not tracking every single thing that I'm eating, right? Like when I was fighting at 170, I didn't have to weigh food. I didn't have to like watch my calories at all. Like I was eating sushi like the week of my fight. People were like amazed by it last time around. So there's a lot of foods I'm waiting to like dig into at the end of it, but I need to keep the weight relatively low because if I plan on still fighting at 155, right? Yeah.
I think by now, Kyran really does embrace that Thicc Boy life.
No, that's why I'm mentioning. I know this. So, is there any one food specifically that you just had to kind of let go of for these last few weeks? Because how long of a camp was it for you?
I was initially supposed to fight in December.
Yeah, so it was a long
camp. And then but then once it got canceled, I had 3 or so weeks of real Thicc Boy activities. And then once I got that call up for this title fight, it was like a real shock. Like I had to like really bring the weight back. Yeah, exactly.
And we're back with Thicc Boy Fight Club, and we got Kyran Cameron here, professional MMA fighter. And since you are getting ready for the BFL lightweight title, I wanted to ask, what food do you want to eat the most after your weigh-in? And like, what are you allowed to eat and get away with that you can kind of go to? Because some fighters go for like cheesecake and like, so like, what do you go for?
I can't go off the rails too much. I think the number one thing I'm looking forward to is like sushi. I like love sushi, and there's some great fish and stuff down in Vancouver.
Oh yeah, nice.
But there's been this nice it's like a supplement shop, but they have a bunch of like smoothie bowls and stuff, acai bowls and stuff like that. So I think that's gonna be my spot. Like after weigh-ins, I definitely gotta hit it up, get an acai bowl or a smoothie
Put
bowl.
everything on top. Everything. Bananas and all the berries.
I might even get 2 while I'm there. Who knows?
Yeah, so when I fought in Panama, there was a jiu-jitsu gym that was an acai spot like together.
Yeah.
And we found it, and I think I had 4 bowls of acai on my fight day.
Yeah.
Like I had 2 there, and I took 2 with me, and I was like, no, this is like the best like refuel like before.
Yeah, it was like that last time down. A bunch of the Niagara guys were down there as well. Suri was fighting as well, so we got like an acai bowl, and I think we got like a tuna wrap each. Like we were stuffed by the end of it.
Nice. And what are you gonna eat after the fight? Like after the night of the fight, like when you finish.
Night. There's a pizza spot around there too. Like I've been there a couple times now, so I've been mapping out all the food spots. There's a late night pizza spot out there, and there's also a little hot dog stand that some of the guys were chirping me for getting it. It's like a Wagyu hot dog.
I would be chirping you too.
Yeah, they were chirping me. It was like really good. It's called Japa Dog. Shout out Japa Dog.
That's jokes.
But it hit the spot. It had some weird toppings on it. I think this time I'll just go plain.
I was gonna ask, is this how you like to celebrate after a fight? Because I think at some point I got to the point where the best part after the fight was the food.
Yeah, no, it definitely hits a lot harder after fights. So that's like gonna be the highlight of the celebration.
Oh man, that's jokes. What else, man? This is your 3rd time that you're fighting in BC?
Yep.
Yeah, and you've been out there before and didn't get to fight as well, no?
Yeah, one of my fights I got canceled previously, and I went down just to support the guys. And I got to be able to experience it backstage, like helping.
So that was your first. That was your first time there, right?
No, my first time it was just me. So
Okay.
I was the first guy from our gym to fight in BFL. That's when I fought Keller.
Oh, you're the flagship athlete.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I opened up the floodgates for us to
Nice.
come down.
It's a total takeover now. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
I think we got who else is fighting on this card from the team? Bobby
and Amin.
Amin. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Amin's fighting for a title, correct?
No, he was supposed to fight for amateur title.
Amateur title, right?
But because a lot of the fights got canceled and there's things happened, so he's fighting the same opponent, but he's gonna make his pro debut. So it's like really exciting for him.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting. He deserves it too.
Yeah, definitely. He's been putting the work in, like starting from a Muay Thai background. He's been like grinding for years, working the wrestling and the Jiu-Jitsu. He won his last fight by rear naked choke. So.
I saw that. It was very impressive.
Yeah.
It was very, and you know all these guys not just from MMA, but you're a guy that's dabbled like in the Muay Thai scene, in the Jiu-Jitsu scene. So you know these guys from outside of just MMA too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we've all gotten really close, especially with the lockdown and everything, having our gym closed down. We were all like shoved into a little 600 square foot closet space pretty much in a hidden location.
Hudson's gym, right?
Yeah, Hudson's gym. So we all got really close over that time I found. And the last like couple years together has been really great. We've picked up a lot of momentum.
Yeah, especially now with everything opening up and you guys have that bond and now more resources coming in, you know, it's just going to be like so much more opportunities coming, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, we got a busy schedule coming up the next couple months.
Yeah, I think Lucas and Lyndon are going to be busy every weekend cornering somebody. Who's going with you for this fight?
I think it's just going to be Lyndon this time down.
This time just Lyndon?
So he's going to be pretty busy. He's got handfuls, 3 fights, so.
3 fights, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. So, before we go, why don't you just give us a shout out, like where everybody can find you, your Instagram, and like what gym support you, and just like this is your moment, just plug yourself, whatever you want to say, and promote your fight, you know?
Yep. Yeah, well, yeah, watch my fight like February 17th on UFC Fight Pass, fighting for the BFL lightweight title. You can follow me on Instagram at Kyran MMA, and check me out at Aegis MMA in Oakville if you're looking for a place to train MMA, all levels. We got some great guys from pro to beginner, UFC guys that come through. If you're in the Niagara area, Niagara Top Team, I got to shout out Combat Arts in Mississauga. They're open up again. So
shout out Joey.
That's where I started. Check them out.
Yeah, big shout out to Combat. That's where I met Kyran. That was one of the big gyms that like started doing everything. You know, it was hard to find a place when we first started training that did a little bit of everything. So shout out to Combat Arts. Yeah, Kyran, thank you so much for coming. I wish you the best of luck on your fight, but I don't think you need it. You know, I think you'll be very successful at this weight class. And I look forward to seeing your Contender Series this year for real and making it to the UFC.
Awesome.
I get to know one more UFC fighter.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, with Thicc Boy Fight Club, it's Kyran Cameron. I'm your Balkan boy.